Can you believe it's already a quarter of the way through the journey? We started at 2. It's already with the a short lunch. It's already 6 hours of sharing time.
Time flies when you're having fun.
Yeah. Time flies when you're having fun. We'll go until midnight or so, and then we'll give ourselves a long sleep break and finish the rest. Okay, let's see. Any impression, any realization, any question in the last 15 minutes or so while you were resting?
I would
Anything
just
jump
find
out at
that
you? Hmm?
you can only share what you know as well. I mean, you can read the people how they are, what they know, and what level they're at too, but you can only share what you know as well.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. And it's kind of humbling. Okay.
And also, there's a lot that I forgot too. I know we're starting this over, but I know it, but I forgot a lot of it too.
Mhm, mhm, mhm. But now you also know in a little bit more detail how to retain it, right? I didn't speak too much about the circle, the curve of forgetfulness, and I didn't try to hammer down that mental activation thing. Okay,
Mhm.
so I'm sure you're gonna be spending more of your brain matter, your gray matter, thinking about the material so that you can retain more. Okay, okay. So let's jump on to a very exciting part. Causality, okay, is a natural law that governs all aspects of our lives. Okay, the formula is simple. Seed plus the condition will give us the fruit. The seed are the awareness within us, the condition are the affinity, and the fruit is the desired outcome in life. Okay. In fact, okay, yeah, let's do that. Another way of looking at that is that let's do this one. Good seed plus positive affinity will give us desired fruit. Okay. If we want desired fruit, we're gonna plant good seed. Okay. If we want to eat a mango that is juicy and sweet, then we're gonna plant the seed of the species of mango that is juicy and sweet. Do you notice that if we want a mango that is juicy and sweet, but we happen to pluck a mango fruit that is come from a tree that bears only sour mango, we're not going to experience the kind of fruit that is sweetened, and juicy that we want. Even if we have a tree that bears, sour mango, and we go and we sort of go to work under condition, we fertilize the tree, we water it, we trim the branches, the leaves, and we take good care of the tree. But if the seed is the seed of a sour fruit, then we're still gonna get sour fruit. Yet human beings we make the mistake of trying to change the fruit all the time. We try to fix the problem. By the time the problem arises, it is the outcome already. And no matter what we do in fixing the outcome, more bad fruit will come out, or more sour fruit will come out if all we have is a tree that produces sour fruit. Okay. So, okay. So here is, so we're going to look at the good seed. Okay. So we're going to look at good seed, good inner seed, good inner seed. Do I like the triangle around it? Good inner seed. We're going to take a look at the good inner seed from different perspectives. As we mentioned earlier, causality is a natural law that governs our lives, and it governs the scientific perspective. It governs the religion, and spirituality perspective. And it governs the common sense morality perspective. Okay. We already established that in order to have the kind of life that is desirable, of health and happiness, and not have to pay too much a price in terms of pain and suffering, number one, we have to align ourselves with universal principles and natural laws. Okay, those principles we've already went through. Let's review. Does anybody remember which principle that we learned through already? Do a quick review, because we're going to apply all of those principles. What's the first principle that we learned? Principle of go ahead and look at your note. What's the first principle that we learned? You can say it, you can type it in the Zoom, in the chat.
Principle of alignment and
There you go. Okay, that's one of them. That's so if we can go through all the principle, the first one is the principle of light. Okay, remember the dark room, right? We want to bring in the light. It is impossible to remove the darkness. That's called the principle of light. And earlier, Vince asked us about practicing. We can practice the principle of light in whatever situation at any time. We talked about principle of alignment with desire. The way we inquire. Do we inquire along the alignment of our desire, or do we say things that focus on the things that we don't want, which is, against our desire? And when we talk to other people, we learn about the principle of the circle of knowledge. That is a principle. Okay, so if we align ourselves with the principle of the circle of knowledge, then it will be more simple to connect with people, to understand them, and to help them understand us. Then life will be like floating down the river along the current. The opposite would be arguing with another person, right? Imagine we've all been in a situation where we try to get our point across with another person and they don't get it, or that they disagree with us, and we end up arguing. And so our affinity with that person becomes negative instead of positive. In those situations, then we can safely say that we are not operating on the principle of the circle of knowledge, or we are going against the principle of knowledge when we get into an argument with another person. Okay. In other words, whenever we experience any undesirable circumstances in life, it is safe to say that, yeah, we are going against some universal principle or natural law. Or we are trying to fix the fruit instead of planting the right kind of seed. That's one way that we can look at it as well. If we're trying to fix a problem and it doesn't go away, then yeah, chances are we are not going along the line of universal principles and natural law. There's another principle that we talk about, the principle of mental activation, of lesson, impression, and realization. Okay, and if we practice that all day long, as I'm talking, you can just take, every few seconds, you just kind of repeat what I say. Every few minutes, you kind of review what I say. Every few minutes, you can ask yourself, what did I get out of this? What impressed me? Okay. And so I'm seeing people yawning, so I wonder if you is yawning. Do you have enough energy, or do you need to go sleep early? Jihua, what about you, Ron? How is your energy level?
I'm fine.
You're okay? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Did you guys take a nap or anything during our 15-minute break?
Nope.
Okay. So next time we take a break or something, I recommend that you actually lie down and sleep, even if it's just 5 minutes. Okay. Let your body go back to a state of balance. When our mind, our spirit is in a state of balance, then our energy, the electromagnetic, frequency around our organs and our internal organs and our cells, they are also balanced. And when they are balanced, then all the metabolic and all the diffusion, all the exchange of chemicals in our body will be optimized, and we will recover a lot faster. Okay, so even if it's 5 minutes, I spend the first 5-10 minutes using the restroom, and I ate, and then I actually lay down and I meditate / sleep for 5 minutes.
I actually did the opposite. I did some little bit of exercising.
That's fine too. Okay, yeah, that's fine. That's great too. Okay, if you can energize yourself, that's fine too. Okay, yeah, good. Okay, so let's work on the good inner seed. Okay, so we mentioned that humans are divided by 3 sort of major perspective or system of references. Some people depend on science to explain how the world works, how their life works. Some people are very spiritual and religious, and other people are just, common sense morality people. Okay, so today, right now, in this part of the sharing, we're going to focus on the scientific approach. Okay, we're going to use the scientific approach at exploring what it means to have a good inner seed. The kind of good inner seed that will give rise to the positive affinity that we have with other people, and ultimately a desired outcome in life. Okay, so what is the good inner seed that will give rise to health and happiness and serenity from a scientific perspective? Okay, so let me ask a question. We're gonna write a big question. Where do the outcomes of life originate. Where does the outcomes of life originate? Okay. In other words, our present health situation. Where does that come from? Our present marriage status, our present financial standing. Where does our present outcome of life or our present condition of life come from?
Choices.
Choices, right? Some people may say because of our genetics. Some people may say because of our environment. But here, we're going to focus on the stuff that we can actually control and manage. We can't, at least from the scientific perspective, we cannot control our genetics. Our parents give that to us. And oftentimes, many things outside of us happen to us and we cannot directly control. So there's no point talking about things that we cannot control. So from the scientific perspective, we're going to focus on the choice. Okay. So we begin with choices. Oops. Oops, oops, oops. Okay, so the answer was choice. Okay, choices. So the outcome of life. Let me see. Do I want to use that color? This is the important part. I want to make sure I want to use some nice color for this one. Okay, that's fine. Outcome. Okay, the outcome of life. Okay, and we already established that, let's make that even better. See if I can improve on my drawing this time. Okay, let's see if I can do that again. Okay, make it a little bit bigger. Choices. Okay. It's a little light, little late for me.
One more time.
One more time, one more time. Okay, it is a little late here for me. Okay. Okay. Outcome. We want to write outcome first.
Yeah.
Yeah, outcome. But choice is an important one. That's why we I keep on focusing on that. Okay. So our outcome in life. Outcome. Okay. And our outcome came about as a series of choices. Okay. Okay. So our choices directly influence our outcome in life. Okay. There are many indirect causes, our, external circumstances, our genetics, but the choices that we make in life are direct causes that lead to the outcome that we have today. From what we like to eat, to what we like to wear, to what kind of friend we choose to hang out with, what kind of subject we decide to study, to what kind of, who we decide to marry, whether we have children or not. The kind of career we choose to take on. And when other things like when we encounter challenges in life, do we face it head on or do we turn our back to the challenges? Those are the choices in life that have brought us to where we are today, right? When we pursue goals and dream, do we follow natural laws and universal principles, or we have been going against the flow of life? Those are choices. And that has gotten us to where we are today. Okay, our health condition, our relationship with other people, our financial standing, the state of our inner being is an outcome. It is a direct result of all the choices that we made. When we inquire about life, have we made inquiry that is along the line of our desire, or have we gone against our desire, right? Those are the choices that we make. When we listen to the other people, do we listen with humility and desire to learn, or have we been trying to impose our ideas and opinion on other people? Those are the choices that determine our relationship with other people, okay? So we agree that our choices in life is a direct cause of the outcome of life. So the question is, hang on, this is what is important that we need to ask. Okay. The question is, why did we make those choices?
Because we
Ron,
like them.
why did, huh?
Because we like them.
Because we like them.
At that time, we liked them.
At that time, we just liked them, right? Or maybe because at that time, it just happened to be a compatible match for who we are, right? For example, why do I mean, or why do you decide to wear a gray shirt instead of, a yellow shirt like me? Or Jihua, why did you decide to wear a white shirt instead of a yellow shirt like me?
Because I like it.
Yeah, because you like it. I think you would look better in yellow. I think you would look better almost bald. You see? Mr. Ron's got bald head. Why don't you do your head bald, Jihua?
Not going to work for me.
It doesn't work for you, right?
You don't like it.
You don't like it. And so you notice that when we interrogate a person on why they, hey, is that Vince? Hi, Vince. Oops, go ahead and unmute. I see you on twice. Is your laptop still on and you're on something else? So there's an iPad. Oh, there's an iPad, and then there is a laptop, and I cannot hear your iPad. Are you talking to us? I cannot hear you. Are you on mute? Can you unmute? This part is this is important, and I am willing to start over if to get you up to speed on it. You're on mute. Can you unmute?
Yes.
There you go.
Okay, you got it.
Okay.
I'm home. I'm home now.
Oh, so you only got home. Did you get the beginning of this part, the interaction, the beginning?
I'm not really.
Okay, so it's important to let me go back. Okay.
I'm sorry. Okay.
No. It's good. It's good. Okay. So earlier, we were talking about natural law. I mean causality. Remember causality? There's a formula for causality. Right. Good seed plus positive affinity give us the desired result. Okay. Desired fruit. If we want to eat a mango that is sweet and juicy, somebody had better plant a seed of the kind of tree that will give us the mango that is sweet and juicy, right? If somebody planted a sour mango seed, you're not gonna get a sweet mango fruit. Get that so far?
Yes, yes.
Right. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna work on the good seed, okay? So if our life, if health and happiness is kind of desired fruit that we want, then what kind of good seed do we need to plant, okay? And so when it comes to causality, we are human being, we are dominated by three main perspectives in life. It is the reference system of science, reference system of religion and spirituality, and reference system of common sense morality. Some people are very scientific oriented. We cannot speak to them using religion and spirituality or even common sense morality. That is why we went through the principle of the circle of knowledge. When we can establish what the person knows, then we can use what they know to help expand their knowledge. You get that so far? Okay. The principle of knowledge, that whole interaction on the circle of knowledge is very important because it will help us guide people through opening their wisdom, okay? So right now, we're going to use the scientific perspective. Eventually, we'll use the religious perspective. Eventually, we'll use the common sense morality to explore what it means to have the good inner seed within us, so that we can ultimately grow the kind of tree that will bear the kind of fruit that is a desirable outcome in life, health, happiness, and peace. So we can use the scientific reference system in this little interaction. Okay, get it? Ready? Ready? So with the scientific approach, the question is, where do the outcomes of life come from? Right? Where we are today, our health situation, our family relationship, our financial standing, and our participant in the Zoom have given us the answer that which directly determines our outcome in life is our choices. Those are direct cause of the effect of our outcome of our life today. Is our choices. There are other indirect causes like our genetic. We can't control our genetic. There's no point talking about genetic, especially in in this perspective, the scientific perspective. We can't control our genetic. Okay? We're born that way. We cannot control circumstances that are outside of our control, so there's no point talking about it. But our choices are the direct causes of the outcome that we have in life today. Do you agree with that?
Okay.
Yeah? Okay. All right, so our choices are the direct cause of the outcome that we have in life today. And so we're going to use the scientific approach. The scientific method begins with the outcome in mind. Okay, a scientist may have some ideas and they begin with what's called a hypothesis. They begin with the outcome in mind, and then they go back and they make experiment to try to create a condition that will lead to that outcome. Okay, that is why we're using the scientific method with this interaction when we talk about the outcome in life. And so we have already established that the choices in life are the kind of thing, the causes that will lead to the outcome that we have. Okay, and so let me ask Vince this next one. Since Jihua and Ron already have the answer, let me ask you. Let me ask Vince right now. Vince, why are you wearing that shirt, a dark color shirt, instead of a bright color like me? Why are you wearing that shirt instead of a bright color like me?
I choose to
You
wear.
choose. Okay, that's good. You choose it. Why did you choose it?
It's convenient.
It's convenient. Yeah, but there are many other, I'm sure in your closet, there are many other articles of clothing that is convenient too. Why that one? There are some short sleeve shirts that are also convenient too, but why do you pick that one?
It's just convenient for now. At this moment, that's all I can tell you. At this moment.
Yeah, at this moment,
Yeah.
it's convenient,
Mhm,
right?
mhm.
Can we say that you like that one?
I like to wear it in my bedroom because it's
Yeah,
convenient. Yeah.
It's within your reach.
Yes, it which
Right.
in my reach. Yes.
How about it's compatible with you?
Not really.
It's not compatible with you.
Yeah, yeah. Only for the convenience.
Okay.
I wear it when I'm in bed.
You wear it when you're in bed because it is appropriate to wear in the bed.
Yes.
Okay, so it
Yeah.
is appropriate to
Yeah.
wear that shirt in bed. Okay.
Yes. Yes.
What kind of work do you do again?
I got a business.
Do you have a business?
I own a small company. Yes.
Okay. Why did you choose to own a car company instead of working for a car company?
Sure, my design. I think every design is to want it to be their own boss. My whole life, I never worked for anybody. My whole life, kind of like 95%.
Yeah,
I
but
work for
come
my
on,
own.
it's a lot of stress and you have to think about all the business and all the problem that had to go with it. And it's easier just to go to work with somebody.
By the time I got in the business, I was too young, full of energy, and a lot of aspiration, a lot of hope, a lot of dreams, and I got what I wanted. Quite
Yeah.
frankly, I got what I wanted until recently. It's a turn different. The life like it came to a different corner, and everything happened at the same time, and it turned everything upside down. Kind of, Yeah.
Yeah. So you see that your choices in life have led you to the outcome that you have today in terms of your health, your relationship, your financial standing.
I believe the character. Oh no. I think I built the foundation from the roots. I built the foundation
Yeah,
from the
those are
roots.
what you did,
Yes.
and those are your choices.
Yeah, that's my
You may
choice.
have
Yeah.
chosen, you may
I
have made
chose.
the choice
I chose.
to build it from the roof down until you're experiencing the cause of the consequence, the effect of it right now.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So, but we're still in agreement that it is choices that have led to the outcome, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the gist of the question is really to get down to the why we choose it in the first place. Why do we do all of that thing that we did when we were a little kid? Why do we choose to eat a certain food instead of not other food? Why do we choose to play with some friends and not other friends? Why do you choose to wear a certain clothing and not other clothing? Why do we study some subject in school instead of other subject? Why did we get married or not get married? Why do we choose that work and not other work? Can you answer that? Yeah, we agree it's choice, but why did you make those choices instead of other choices? There are many other choices you could make.
I believe in fate. Trust me. What I got in, I never thought about it.
Well, we are using the scientific approach. Okay, so faith is a religious and spirituality approach. Okay, so we'll set that aside. We'll get to that in a bit. But
Uh-huh.
you did make those choices,
Yes.
right? God didn't say, Vincent, this is your life from now on for the rest of the world. No, there's every moment in your life, there have been options and you made the choice and you already agree that it is your choice. The question is, why did you make those choices? How about this one? Do you like ice cream?
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this: chocolate or vanilla? Okay, I'm giving you chocolate and vanilla. Choose.
Mhm. Chocolate.
No, let's play this game, okay? I'm gonna give you
Mhm.
chocolate.
Mhm.
I'm gonna give you ice cream. Okay, so pretend this is ice cream. Okay, this is chocolate. This is vanilla.
Mhm.
Choose. Which one do you want?
Chocolate.
You want chocolate?
Yes.
Okay. One more time. Chocolate or vanilla? Choose.
Chocolate.
Okay. Third time. Chocolate or vanilla? Choose.
Chocolate.
Why?
It tastes is. I like the taste.
Yeah, you like it. Okay, you just like it.
Mhm.
In fact, every moment in our life, every time we make a choice, it's either because we like it or it's a natural compatibility with us. Can we agree that it's always the choice always seem to be because we like it? I can interrogate you and I can say why. You can say because it's convenient, and I can ask why is it convenient and why do you choose chocolate or vanilla? And you always choose this because ultimately at the bottom, because we like it. Or we are compatible with that choice, because sometimes you have made a choice that you don't really like. Have you ever made choice that you don't like?
Nope.
Oh, very good. Okay, so you're
Unless I have to.
yeah. Okay. What if people give you some options of two things that you don't like? Okay, tell me some kind of food that you don't like.
Then I choose the one I less dislike.
Okay, less dislike. Yeah, so it's still related to liking. Okay, right.
Mhm.
So some of the answers that other participants have given us, and we're gonna go with it. Obviously, one of them is because we like it, or it is compatible with who we are. Compatible. Okay. It is compatible with who we are, therefore we just kind of choose it. Just kind of like choosing a spouse or choosing a career. We may or may not like it. I didn't know what I like in terms of the kind of job or the kind of subject in school, but it just happened to be something that is suitable for me. Right? A lot of my choices is made not because if I like it. I didn't really like it. I didn't have any better choice, but I just made it because it is compatible. Okay? Because we like it or we're compatible. So when it comes to choices and outcome in life, I want you to write this down. Let me want to make sure I write it correctly. Okay. When it comes to choices and outcome, the human mind, human being, we have this weird tendency. We have the tendency to acknowledge the outcome that is desirable. Right? We tend to be very proud of it. We say, hey, thanks to the choice that I've made, I have this wonderful outcome. I made a wise choice when I made that investment, and now I have a lot of money. I made a wise choice when I married that spouse, and now I have a happy family. But oftentimes, do you notice that when the outcome is undesirable, we tend to deny the choice? We tend to blame other people. It was not my fault that I got a speeding ticket. The police guy was in the corner when I got the speeding ticket. It's not my fault. It's not my fault that I got divorced. It's just, a spouse didn't love me. It's not my fault that I got COVID. But if we, won the lottery, oh, it is my choice to pick those numbers. We tend to acknowledge the positive outcome, don't we? And we tend to deny the negative outcome. That's a weird thing.
In my case, I'm sorry. In my case, I admit this is my fault. This is my fault.
Okay, okay.
In my case, yeah.
So you are more mature than a lot of people I know.
Yeah.
Okay, and so I invite you to write this down. So thank you for that, Vince. Okay, you are way ahead of many people. Okay, it is
Frank,
difficult for
isn't it
me.
that you can't blame yourself either because at
Exactly.
that time your choice was made, it was good for you. It was suitable. You liked it.
Yeah. Okay, so let's write this down. Okay, so on the one hand, we want to honor Vince for being a mature person, for taking ownership of his choices. And another thing, we want to raise your awareness about something, and exactly what Ron just said. So go ahead and write this one down. The root cause of life begins with me. But not my fault. Okay, so this is an important one. This is for Vince. The root cause of life begins with me. I think you agree with that already, because you take ownership of your choices. But what you said is it is my fault.
It
And
is.
I'm going to argue that it is not your fault. Okay, I'm going to argue that it's not your fault. In fact, it is not. Another way to say is that, but I don't, this is more of an active statement, but I don't blame. Okay. You know why? And Ron just said it. At the moment of your choosing, you chose it because you like it, or you chose it because it is compatible for who you are at that moment. Because based on what you know at that moment, you made the best choice possible that you knew how to make at that moment. If you had known better, you would have made better choice, right? Because you didn't know better. You knew everything at that single moment. You narrowed down our life to that single moment of choice. Okay, whatever choice is, especially the one that turned out to be bad. At that moment of choosing, we could have chosen the one that we like, we hate less. Between two choices that we don't like, we choose the one that we dislike less. Because at that moment, we either like it or we're compatible with it. And based on what we know, our level of understanding, our range of awareness, our level of wisdom at that time, we made the best choice that we could have made given what we knew at that time. Later on, there are consequences, and those consequences could turn out to be negative or positive, but that's after the fact. We didn't know that. Right? Had we known the consequence, we would have made a better choice, but we didn't know that. So there is no need to blame yourself for any choices that we made. Let that sink in for a moment. This is a Zen moment. You have to realize that all the choices we've made later on, now that we have a better knowledge and understanding, now that we have more experience, now that we have experienced pain and suffering and stuff like that, we tend to go back and we blame ourselves, if not ourselves, then other people. For you, you're mature enough to not blame other people. But if we still consider that it is our fault, then we are still not acknowledging ourselves for the moment of choosing, because at the moment of choosing, we didn't know any better. Right? If we go back, we would have made a better choice. But if we go back, then we already have more knowledge. We have more wisdom. We have more maturity. So we have made better choice. But at that moment, the first time, we didn't know. We knew what we knew. Remember the whole circle of knowledge? I only know what I know. That's why we went through that whole circle. I only know what I know. It's kind of humbling to know that your knowledge is limited. And because I only know what I know, that moment of choosing, I made the best choice possible that I knew how to, for myself or other people or whatever. Consequences is something that comes after. And so we don't need to blame ourselves, right? The root cause of life begins with me, but I don't need to blame. It is not my fault. Can you accept that?
This philosophy, this is the one I shared when I was at the offline.
Okay.
It's very familiar to me, and I know each step that's going to come up. So kind of exciting, actually, listening to it from you, a different version.
Okay.
More in English.
For Hoa and Ron, they have already experienced a transformation, so they get it. But it is important that Vince get this part before we can move on.
Mhm.
Can you get both the red and the green part? The root cause of life begins with me, but it's not my fault.
I still think it's my fault.
Okay, you still think it's a fault.
And I blame myself a lot.
Okay.
I did
Why?
it. Yeah.
Why?
I deal with the failure from my choice. All my life, I never fail. All my life. Kind of. 90%, I never fail. Kind of, close to never fail. 90%, I always win. But then the last 10%, I fail.
Okay. So let's go back to that moment of choice that caused that failure.
Yeah, I agree with you that at that moment, that's the best choice I made. I know what I know by that moment.
Yeah.
That's why I made my choice, but it was wrong. That's it.
Oh, no. It was wrong only after. It only become wrong after. There is a causality at work. At that moment, you knew what you knew, you made the best choice possible. Later on, a series of consequences take place, and then it becomes negative and undesirable. So we experience the negativity with it. We experience pain and suffering. Question is, did you learn anything from it?
Yes.
Okay. So what is the value? Is the value in the lesson or the value in the pain and suffering?
Yes.
Is the value in the lesson, or is the value in the pain and suffering?
In the lesson?
In the lesson. So be grateful for the lesson instead of dragging yourself down with blame. If you can allow yourself to experience a degree of inner peace, acceptance for who you are, magnanimity, which is being generous and tolerant with who you are, and be grateful for the lesson and for being alive enough to experience the lesson, then you will have elevated your internal being. Early on, you asked about practice. This is a practice. If this interaction, if this part didn't cause a shift in awareness and perception, didn't cause you a transformation and enlightenment, that's fine. Then you can use the practice, initiating inner peace. Just be at peace with the way things are. Be tolerant, be accepting of yourself, and be grateful for the lesson. And that is the way that the sages and the masters have taught us to overcome our difficulties in life. It is a way for us to free ourselves from guilt. and blame. Because guilt and blame are the weight that is dragging us down. If we're trying to swim, we're in a river of life and there's turbulence and we're trying to float and we are giving ourselves the weight of blame and guilt. We are dragging ourselves down into the bottom and we cannot ever rise up. Okay. On the other hand, the energy of inner peace, magnanimity, and gratitude is the flotation device that will keep us afloat. Okay. So can we move on? Can we at least temporarily accept that the root cause of life begin with me, but I don't need to blame? So if you cannot accept that not my fault, then at least take the second part. I don't need to blame. Can
Okay,
we-
I get it.
Huh?
I get it. Okay.
Okay, all right, temporarily, okay. A truce, okay. At least I don't blame, okay. So never mind the part about the fault, you know.
I'll
Just-
stop blaming. Stop blaming from this moment on.
Yeah, okay, good. We can stop blaming. You don't need to blame ourselves. We don't need to blame other people because they, you know, if they do things that is undesirable to us, they are also at their limit of knowledge at that moment in time. Okay, if they had known better, they would not have do anything undesirable. Okay, so basically, root cause of life begins with me, and I don't need to blame. And I've made those choices because I am compatible with it or I like it. Okay, and so the scientific method, especially the science of psychology, tells us that our choices, okay, the question is, you know, where do our choices come from? Why do we like something? Why do we find ourselves compatible with something, right? The question of why do we like to do certain things? Why do we like to go out more than staying in? Why do we like business more than other things? Why do we like to own a business instead of work for a business? The question of why we choose what we choose basically gives us the answer of personality. Okay, it is
Yes.
our personality that
Mhm.
basically informs our choices.
Yes.
Yeah, that's pretty simple, right?
Yes.
We, you know, we like, okay, it's simple. It is our personality that informs our choices. Our choices, I think, that are dependent on what we like, what we compatible with, and how that will give us the outcome today. Okay, and so scientists ask, okay, where do your personality come from? What makes up a person's personality? And this in this simplicity, and you know, if you study psychology, it can get really complicated, but you know, the sages have simplified for us so that we can simply come to a full awareness and perception of human life and experience so that we can take ownership of it and then manage it and create the outcome that we want in life. Then our personality, from the perspective of the science of psychology, comes from a set of habits. Okay, just to simplify things, right? You notice that if you keep on doing something over and over, that is your habit. And after a while, people notice, oh yeah, that's part of their personality. If a person has a habit of waking up in the morning and exercising and going to work early, they're going to have a certain personality that's different from a person who has a habit of sleeping in until 10 o'clock. All right, so that's pretty simple to understand. Our habit determines our personality. And what are habits? Well, very simple. Our habit is nothing more than a set of actions. Okay, action that we repeat over and over basically determines our habit. So really, if we want to change our outcome in life, all we gotta do is change our choices. In order to change our choices, we actually have to start changing our personality. We have to start changing our habit, and then we start changing our action. But it seems that when scientists study human behavior, they find in that changing your action isn't necessarily effective. You can try to create new habit. For example, people, let's say, have a habit of smoking, right? Habit of smoking involve actions of smoking a lot. And they try to change their habit by, let's say, stop smoking. They may be able to stop smoking for a while, but somehow they go back to old actions. And so action is not the root of the outcome in life. There is something else more rooted, something else more fundamental. There is a seed that gives rise to the action, would give rise to the set of habit, would give rise to our personality, would give rise to our choices, which determine our outcome in life. Right? And so we ask, okay, what give rise to the action? What caused a person to act a certain way? Okay, and the answer is pretty simple. It is thinking. Okay, the way we think about something determine how we act. Okay, the way we think about something determine how we act. And so when it comes to therapy, okay, when it comes to mental health therapy, there is a branch of mental health therapy called cognitive behavioral therapy. Any of you guys heard of that?
Yes.
Yeah, the therapist will help us change our thinking in order to affect our behavior, which is action, which will eventually, if we repeat the action, it never will change our habit, it changes our personality, which will changes our choice and the outcome in life. Cognitive behavioral therapy. Changing our thinking will change our action. Okay. However, sometimes you find it not so simple to change your thinking either. Right? You can tell people to change their mind, but it's not that simple. Old habit, old thought pattern, old system of reference still determine our thinking. So there is something deeper than just thinking. The question is, what gives rise to the thinking? Okay, why do we think a certain way? Why do some people have a certain thought pattern and others have different thought pattern? So if we're going to change our outcome in life, we're going to need to be able to change our thinking. But how do we change our thinking? So the scientists and the sages have done the study for us. Okay, instead of us trying to figure out on our own, we just learn it from the people who've already succeeded. They've already experienced, experimented, and they have discovered that is our belief. Okay, our belief system, so to speak, that will determine our thinking. So I want you to write the word determine. Okay, our beliefs determine our thinking. It is our belief that will determine the way we think, which will influence our action, which will determine our habits if our action gets repeated long enough. And eventually it will form our personality, and that personality will tend to make a set of choices that are compatible with that personality. And then it will give out the kind of outcome that we have in life. So we take a look at our life outcome, our health condition, our financial status, our relationship well-being. what kind of belief do we have about it? Are we the kind of person who believe that good health is easy to come by? Or do we believe something that is counter to that? Do we believe that happy marriages are entirely possible and it is up to us? Or do we believe that the opposite sex, is jerks and it is only in fairy tale? Only happiness is only in fairy tales. Well, if a person believes that happiness is only in fairy tale, then guess what? To those people, only fairy tale has happiness, happy marriage. But for people who believe that happy marriage is real, then they can take ownership of the relationship, a marriage relationship, and they will experience happy marriage. For people who believe that stress is an inevitable part of life, yeah, guess what? Their reality is a life of stress. But for people who believe that life is about being happy, life is about being healthy, life is about being at peace, then guess what? Their outcome in life is exactly reflective of what they believe. If a person believes that fate determines their outcome in life, then they also believe that there is no choice. Right? If we are predestined, if God determines everything, then we have no free will. And guess what? That people have no power, no choice, no ability to change their life, no freedom. But if a person believes that, oh, the root cause of life begins with me, but it's not my fault, or I don't need to blame myself or other people, the root cause of life begins with me. That's a belief. That is a statement reflective of a belief. If the root cause of life begins with me, then all I gotta do, if I want to change the outcome, is to change the root, change the root cause, change the seed, plant new seed. Do you see the power of belief? But at the beginning of this sharing, we talked about the 6 limiting beliefs, 6 self-limiting self-awareness. Those are beliefs. Self-trivialization. I'm not good enough. I don't have the ability. I don't have the knowledge. I don't have the right condition. If you believe in those barriers, then guess what? Your outcome in life is full of barriers. But if you're a person who believes that I can do anything, the root cause of life begins with me, there's no limit, I'm not afraid of failure, I am the kind of person who will attract the positive condition into life. If I don't have knowledge, I know how to get knowledge. I believe that I can create my own future. I can create better choices. And that belief basically directly influence the choices. So if you can help a person change their belief, did I spell that right? What is it? Look weird. B-E-L-I-E-F. That's correct, right? Yeah. Okay. If we can help a person change their beliefs, it will directly change their choices and thereby directly change the outcome in life.
Yes.
Yeah. But where do beliefs come from? It has to come from somewhere. Okay. We didn't just, we weren't born believing in the kind of thing that we do now. It came from somewhere. Okay. Usually some kind of conditioning. And the sages have taught us that the beliefs came from mental images. Okay? It is our mental images that will form our belief system. Mental images are much more fundamental than system of belief. By the time it becomes a belief system, it's very complicated. Mental images are made up of that which we hear, that which we say, that which we see, and that which we know. So from the moment we were a child, we first begin to see, we first begin to hear, we first begin to speak and say, and then we first begin to know. Those start to form our mental images about ourselves, mental images about the world around us, and that begins to form our beliefs about ourselves, about other people, and thereby they directly influence our choices and give us the outcome of life that we have today. But let's go back a little bit on the belief, okay? There's an interesting about belief. Let's use another page. Use this page. As a human being, we have the conscious beliefs. Oops. We want things, okay? We have the conscious desire. One more time. Late night. Okay. Conscious desire. Yeah, desire. Yeah, desire. Okay. You notice that we tend to want certain thing. We want to do certain thing. We want to change our habit. We want to build, you know, we want to have new results. We even want better thoughts. We have conscious desire. But at the same time, we also have something called the unconscious belief. Okay. When we want certain thing, but our conscious belief isn't aligning with that. Who do you think, which one do you think is going to win? Is it our conscious desire is going to win, or is it our unconscious belief that's going to win? Okay. If we say that we want to be healthy, but our unconscious belief is that we don't have time to exercise and take care of our health. The desire is to be healthy, but the unconscious belief is that I don't have time, I don't have the means, or it's my genetics. Then which one do you think is going to win? Is it our desire, or is it our belief that's going to win? I think it's pretty obvious, right? It is usually our belief that's going to win. Okay, if our beliefs are the limiting belief, if our beliefs are negative or go against the desire, then it's gonna win. You're gonna get undesirable things. A woman may want to have a happy marriage, but if she believes that men are jerks, well, guess what? Her belief is gonna win. She's gonna find men who are jerks. Okay, a person who wants to succeed in business, but believes that money is evil, or only success is only for rich people who already have, you know, family connection and things like that. Or it is the belief that's going to win. Those people are not going to win, even though they have the desire to be rich. Okay, a person who wants to be healthy, but believes that work is more important than spending time taking care of their health, the belief is going to win. Work is going to get more attention than their health. But fortunately, in this philosophy, we have a formula to help you align your conscious desire with your unconscious belief. And we can help you be successful at work and still have good health. Okay, so just stick with it. Okay.
Sounds good.
Okay. Ooh, look at that, Morgan. Hey, Morgan, thank you for joining us. Okay. Where were we? Okay, we are here. We're at the belief and mental image, and I hope Vince is still there. The last part is important before we take a break. Okay. So we say that mental images, which is what we hear, what we see, what we say, and what we know. Okay, our mental images determine our beliefs affect our choices, and that gives our outcome in life. There's a song there's a song from the movie, I think the Prince of Egypt. There will be miracles when you believe. Okay, there will be miracles when you believe. Okay, you should write that down. Okay, you can definitely write that down. Okay, let's write it down in this one. This is a quote page. Okay, the root cause of life begin with me, and the next one is there will be miracle when you believe. Okay, put an exclamation mark. There will be miracles when you believe. If you are a person
Good
of
voice, Frank.
yes.
You have good voice. singing.
Thank you. There will be miracles when you believe. Okay, so in the Bible, okay, in the Christian Bible, Jesus said that if your belief is as big as a mustard seed, which is a tiny, tiny little seed, if your belief is as big as a mustard seed, you can tell the mountain to move from one place to another, and the mountain will get up and move from one place to another. Well, guess what? Human beings have already done that. The scientists, the engineers have already told that mountain to move, and that mountain has already moved. That's how we can build freeways. That's how we can build shopping malls, because we told mountain to move from one place to another. They believe that they could move mountain, therefore they move mountain. Okay, or if you believe you can tell the ocean to give birth to an island, and it will do. Okay, human being, we scientists and engineers operating on the law of causality in the physical world already created artificial island out of the ocean. Just, you know, put dirt and rocks and concrete and then build island out of the ocean. Human beings have literally told mountains to move because they simply believe that they can. And guess what? They have the mental images on how to do it. So when an engineer or a scientist want to build something, they begin with a mental image of what that look like. Right? They draw up a plan. Architect will draw up a plan. If they want to build a bridge, if they want to move a mountain, if they want to build a freeway through the mountain, they have an image of what that look like. And then they simply go about operating the law of causality, planting the right kind of seed in terms of knowledge and technology, and condition it with the right kind of affinity with other people, hire the right kind of contractor, and before you know it, the mountain is in a different place and the freeway drive right through it. And so we can do the same thing with human life and experience. We can do the same thing with our health, with our relationship, with our finances. We begin with the mental images. We create the mental images of what we want, which is the outcome. You know, the scientific process begins with the outcome in mind. And then we go about operating the law of causality. Okay. Okay. So our mental images comes from what we say, what we hear, what we see, what we know, what we say. Okay. And then do you get that so far? Yeah. There is the interaction. There's a very important interaction that I want to, it's very important. It is transformative. Let me see. Okay. So let's talk about mental images. Okay. What if you have already negative mental images? Okay, what if you already have negative mental images? That's going to cause you negative belief. It's going to give you negative choices. That'll give you negative, undesirable outcome in life. How do we change a mental image? Vince, are you still awake?
Yes, I am.
Are you too sleepy to actually get on a cam? Can you get on a cam? I would like to see you for the next, I don't know, 5, 10
I am.
Yeah,
I am.
this is the
Anyway.
last interaction of the evening. Okay, I know it's getting late. We'll get through this part. Okay, you can just answer the questions.
Our
Can you-
internet went off for ourselves. Sorry for that.
Okay.
We're on
Okay.
a phone now.
Oh, you're internet. Okay, no wonder. Okay, let's do this in last part. And you know, for those of you who are new and you have just joined our Zoom. Morgan, are you still on the? Are you on the camera, Morgan? Are you on the phone? Are you able to answer us? Okay, that's fine. We'll just work with whoever that's here. But I want some new people to get this interaction. Okay, this is how we are going to change our mental images if we already have negative mental image. Now, we already agree that the root cause of life begins with me. We already believe that our belief determine our choices. So how do we change our belief? How do we change our mental images? Okay, so let's take a look at this. Okay, and I want Vince to be active participant in this part. What is this, Vince?
Is a carrot?
Let's do this one. I like that one. How about this one? What's this? I've been using this.
Is a pen?
It's a pen or a marker, right? A pen or a marker.
A marker, yeah, a marker.
Yeah, that's fine. A pen is or a marker.
Mm.
What do we do with a pen or a marker? We
Right.
write or we mark,
Yeah.
right? Okay. You see a pen or a marker, and we know that we write a mark with it. Now, let's pretend that you are not here, I'm not here, and a little puppy dog, which is an animal that is very close to human being, very intelligent in some ways, okay? And puppy dog comes in and it see this thing. What do you think the puppy dog would call this? What would the puppy dog say about this? If a puppy dog was to run into the room and it sees this, what do you think the puppy dog would say? What would, to the puppy dog, what would it do to this? That's another way of it.
A bone?
It may think it's a bone, yeah.
Yeah.
What would it do with a bone? It might chew on it.
The juice on it, yes.
Yeah, it might chew on it, or maybe a toy to play with it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you say it as pen,
Mm-hmm.
we write with it, but a puppy dog might chew on it or play with it because it might think it's a bone or a toy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so already two being is perceiving things differently.
Mm-hmm.
Who is right?
Both.
Both are right. Yeah, both are right. Human being, we see this as a pen because we write with it. A puppy dog see this as a bone or a toy, it'll chew or play with it. Okay, so we're both right. But so now let's do this. Let me put this down and I leave the room. You leave the room. Chị Hoa, Ron, everybody leaves the room. The little puppy dog also leaves the room. No, nobody's left in the room. What is it? We all left the room. No dog in the room. What is it?
Just an object.
Vince, what do you think? What is it?
Still a pen? A marker?
You're not here. Who's going to say it's a pen or marker? There is
Nothing.
nobody in the room.
So nobody said that. Nobody says anything because nobody's in the room.
There is nobody in. Okay, you and I leave the room. Okay, I left this down.
Mhm.
You and I leave the room. Chị Hoa, Ron leaves the room.
Mhm.
If we say that's an object, that's because we're in the room to perceive it. But if we're not in the room, the puppy dog is not in the room. Nobody is in the room. What is it?
Nothing.
It's nothing. It's nothing. This is nothing. It is not nothing because not because it doesn't exist. It exists. It's there. It's real. Okay, it exists. But I'm not here. You're not here. The puppy dog is not here. Nobody to perceive it, so it's nothing. It's not an object because it takes a human mind. It takes a human mind to call it an object. But if we're not here to perceive it, then it is nothing. Now, let's say all of us come back into the room. Okay, we pick this up. What is it now? It is
Marker?
a marker or a pen again. Okay, and at the same time, puppy dog comes in again. What would the puppy dog do with it?
Juice on?
They would chew on it, play with it. And so now it becomes something. To us, it is a pen or a marker. To the puppy dog, it is a toy or a bone. So let me ask you, this thing, what it is what it is. Does it come from that out there? or is what it is come from what is in here, in our mind?
In our mind.
It comes from what's in our mind that determine what it is. A human mind determined that is a pen. A puppy dog's mind determined that it's a bone or a toy.
Belief. That's the belief.
It is our belief. It is our mental image of something that determine what it is, not that thing. And therefore, you can write the following statement down. Okay, you can write the following statement down. It's an important one. The nature of all things are empty. The nature of all things are empty. By its nature, it has no meaning. By its nature, it is nothing. It is only with the mind involved that it becomes something. Okay? It is only when the mind is involved that it becomes something. In fact, we have a preconceived mental images of what it is before we see it. Before we come into contact with this pen, we already have a preconceived notion of what it is that enables us to say, oh, that's a pen, because we write with it. A puppy dog doesn't have the preconceived notion of writing. Instead, it has a preconceived notion or an idea or a mental image of a bone or a toy, so it'll chew on it or play with it. And therefore, the nature of all things are empty. Empty of meaning. Okay? And so we can extrapolate that to our person, about who we are. If we are already somebody, then we cannot be anybody else. Okay? If we are already somebody, then we cannot be anybody else. If we are already somebody, then we cannot be anybody else. But if we are nobody, then we can become anybody. Why? Because the nature of all things are empty. This pen by itself is nothing. And because it is nothing, it can become anything, depending on the person perceiving it. It can become a pen to a person, it can become a toy or a bone to a dog. It can even become gold. To me, this is gold. Why? Because I can mass produce this pen, sell it, make a lot of money, and buy gold. I have just turned this simple pen into gold. Did you get that? Only when I realized that this pen is nothing and it can be anything. It has a potential to become anything. It could be, you know, a drumstick to play on a drum, or it can be gold. It could be a money-making opportunity. If I choose to turn this into a product that I can mass produce and sell it to a lot of people. So I can turn this common pen into gold, simply because I recognize that the essence of all things or the nature of all things are empty, and whatever meaning comes from within my own mind. So same thing with a human body, human person. If who we are is a sick person, then we cannot become anybody else. If we are a failure, then we cannot become anybody else. Okay? If we are poor, then we cannot become anybody else. But if we recognize that we are nobody, then we can potentially become anybody. If we are nobody, then we can simply become a person of health. If we're nobody, then we can simply become a person of great character. If we are nobody, then we can simply become a person of integrity. We can become a loving father, a faithful husband, a kind wife, a healthy person, and a happy individual. Only if we realize that we're really nobody. It's called attachment to identity. Okay, if we are attached to identity, just as if we are attached to this is nothing more than a pen, then we will never see the potential of this pen becoming gold. If we are attached to our identity as somebody who is sick, who is sad, who is depressed, who is anxious, then we cannot. It's harder. I mean, we can. It's harder to go against the flow of life. It's difficult to become a person who's healthy and happy as long as we are stuck to our identity. And so you can write another statement down. If we want to change the outcome, all we got to do? Change images change
Belief.
life. That's it. Change our mental images about ourselves, then we can start changing our life. Okay. What about our mental images of other people? Our co-worker, our families, our children, our spouse. If we have a mental images of them that is negative, then guess what? Our relationship with them is negative. But if we can change our mental images about other people to become positive, then we can have a positive relationship with other people. If a parent see their children as playing too much video games, or they're too lazy, they don't study, then guess what? That is their reality. That they are parent of children who are lazy and plays video game and don't study. But if you realize that your children is nobody, and that the nature of all things is empty and meaningless, and whatever meaning, whatever identity comes from within our mind, not that outside out there, it is internal that determines what our external reality is, then we essentially create our external world. We can create our children. We can create our co-worker. when we look at another person with a different mental image. Did you guys get that? Yeah, it comes from the realization that the root cause of life begins with me. It is not what they do. It is not the external circumstances that determine my outcome. It is me. It is my own mental images about me, about other people, about the circumstances in life that determine the external circumstances. And of course, that mental images informs our belief, which inform our choices and informs our outcome. It's a cycle. You can choose to let this cycle go up, or you can choose to let the cycle go down and negative and negative. And it's very simple. If you cannot experience that Zen moment that we were working on, that was a Zen moment. That was a transformative realization that all things are essentially empty and who I am is nobody, then I can become anybody. If you have enough fortune, energy to actually get that Zen moment, then you have it easy. But if you don't have it, that's fine too. You can do it using effort. And the effort is to work on the hear, the say, the see, and the know. And the way to do that is you want to start by, this is a practice that you can use at work or any time in your life, okay? What you want to do is to change what we say and know. Okay, we can change what we say, right? We already learned about the principle of light. We can start speaking in terms of light instead of darkness. We can start speaking positively instead of negatively. We want to change what we say and know, and what we want, and we want to monitor what we hear and see. All right, what we hear and what we see come from the news, come from social media, come from other people. Pay attention to what other people are saying. Is the kind of stuff that they are saying, and we are absorbing that stuff, is it conducive to a desirable outcome in life? Or is it negative and against, does it, go against our desire? Powerful, powerful stuff. So we can take responsibility for ourselves, responsibility for our own lives. We become the master of our fate. You used the word fate earlier. Before we know how to think, before we took ownership of the root cause of life, life seemed to be determined by fate. We are subjected to fate. We had no choice. Things seem to happen outside of our control. But once we realize that it is the choices that directly determine our outcome, and the choices are just compatible, or they, something that we like. And instead of taking the time of changing our personality, our habit, our action, our thinking, that takes a long time. Psychologists have been trying to do that, cognitive therapy. I've been going through, dozens of years, and for some people it helps. It takes a long time, a lot of effort. There's a shortcut. Change your belief. Change your mental images. Inform new beliefs. Come to the realization that the essence of all things are empty, and who I am is nobody. I can invent a new identity any moment I want to, because the root cause of life begins with me. And if that doesn't work, then we practice. Oops, where's that one? Practice the change what we say and what we know, and monitor what we see and what we hear. So next time you turn on the television, next time you turn on social media, and there are news that are negative about how bad life is, about how, all the negative stuff. We get that stuff all the time. Yeah, you can decide if you want to continue. Okay, you can choose if you want to continue hearing and seeing those stuff, or you can change the channel. Go to goodnewsnetwork.org or something like that. Turn on YouTube and search for Restoring Faith in Humanity. Ooh, those are very inspiring video. Restoring Faith in Humanity. Those are examples of people helping people. People doing great magnanimous thing. Helping animals and people, and they restore your faith in humanity. And don't look at the mainstream news. Those will make you more negative. And as you consume negative images, well, guess what? Your mental image is going to be pretty negative, and that will inform what you know. If all we do is consume negativity, we're going to start to know only the negativity, and what we say is only negative. And guess what? Our belief system is negative, and therefore our outcome in life is negative, undesirable circumstances. So you can start practicing by monitoring what we say, what we know, and what other people say to us, okay? About our life, about our health, about our physical health, mental health, about relationship, about our children, about our coworker, everything. Just monitor what people say. Just kind of start paying attention. Oh, is this negative or positive? Is this what I really want in life? Or is this going to hurt my health later on? And if you do that, after a while, if you bring light into your room, get it? If you bring light into your room by changing the way we hear and we see, if those things become positive, then after a while, when your room is full of light, then there's no room for darkness. You don't have to solve your problem. You don't have to fix your issues. You don't have to cure your sickness. Sickness will simply have no room to exist in your house of light.
You can't change what you hear or see, but you can change what you know and say.
Exactly. That's what you monitor. Right? You just kind of know that, oh, they say something that is negative. I don't want to hear it. Okay, pass. Thank you, but pass. I'll pass. I'll go find somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
And the power is in the changing what we say and what we know. It is the power. That's when we express ourselves. That is when we create our reality. When we speak, oh, there's power in words. When we speak, the speak has the power to create our reality. And if what we say is positive and happy and serene and full of gratitude, right? Once again, we go back to practice. If we just rotate among those three energy, speak words of peace, speak words of tolerance and magnanimity, speak word of honoring gratitude. And after a while, there will be no room for any darkness in your life. Okay? Okay. Yeah. Let's end there. Okay. The next sort of discussion is gonna be about I think we're gonna start. Let me see. We're gonna start now talking about yeah. So a couple of quote that you want to take with you. Root cause of life begins with me. Okay. There will be miracle when you believe. Nature of all things are empty. If we are already somebody, we cannot be anybody else. And any other quote.
Right, isn't it when you become somebody too,
Mm-hmm.
you become nothing again, right?
Yeah, that's a little bit more advanced. Okay, so that is more when you don't want to become attached to a new identity for too long. Okay, because that too will prevent you from growing and maturing. You can become a new identity, but as soon as you get that, you can just let it go. Okay. Change image, change life.
Mhm.
Okay, another one is let's do this on top. Clear images. Clear images equal reality. Okay, clear images equal reality. Think of, let's say you want to build a house or you want to build a business. At first, we may just have this vague idea of what that business look like or what that house look like. But when we begin to clarify that image, let's say a house, the moment that we have a clear image of what the house look like, how many square foot, how many stories, what color paint, what kind of bathroom, what kind of sink, what kind of bed, when we have a perfectly clear image of what that house look like, who we're gonna hire for the contractor, how much it costs, where we're gonna get the material, where do we get the finance, when we can build a completely clear image of that house, we have it. Because we know the entire causality of it. We know the seed, we know all the conditions that needed to build a house, and therefore we will have it. This is especially relevant to those of you who own a business, right? You might begin with a certain vague image of a business, but the moment you have a clear mental image of what your business look like, what kind of service you want to provide, what kind of value you want to offer to people, how much the price, what are the people, what are the human resources or talent asset, what are the law required, how much money. The moment you have all of that clearly in a plan, you have it. That is your reality. Same with your health. Okay, since we're talking about health, just the last piece apply before we take a long break. We'll go to sleep early today. There's one slide I want to make sure that you guys get. It is a slide on health. Sure I get it right. Okay. So, a lot of us are interested in health, myself included. Remember the quote on health, right? The World Health Organization defined health as a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being. Okay, so health okay, so we have the mental, okay, we have the social well-being, and we have the physical well-being. Okay, with the mental well-being, you can start to build a mental image of what it means to be a person of mental well-being, mental health. It involves the energy of serenity, inner peace. Okay, it involves the energy of magnanimity. Magnanimity comes from a Latin word. The word magna means great, big. Animus, magnanimous, for instance, animus means spirit. A person of great spirit is a person of generosity, of tolerance and acceptance. A person of magnanimity is simple to forgive and be merciful to other people. That is an attitude. That is a mental attitude, to be very generous and tolerant of other people. So begin to build a mental image of what it means to be a person of magnanimity. With mental health, you want to work on building the image of what it means to be a person of honoring gratitude. Okay? At any time, at any moment, at any place, at work or in family relationship, be grateful for simply being alive. Be grateful for having the air to breathe. Be grateful for having a job. And then honor the people and the circumstances that give us that situation, that positive situation. Remember, we already work on the principle of life. We're going to focus on the positive part of life. So we honor people. We are grateful. When you just cycle through that, if you got nothing better to do, just be at peace. When you interact with people, be magnanimous. When you're working and being by yourself, you can be grateful. Okay, that is you building a mental image of mental health. Okay, when it comes to physical, well, there are some physicality, there are some very specific measurable ways that you determine physical health. You can just say physical health. How do you know when you've achieved physical health? Well, physical health has to do with strength. So, and ask the kind of question, okay, how strong do I want to be? Okay, how many pounds do I want to lift, for example? How many, strength? When in physical health, there is stamina. How long a distance can I run or swim? How many squat can I do? Can I do 23,000 squat? That is your physical health. There is flexibility. Okay, these are physical flexibility. Can you bend down and touch your toes without bending your knee? Can your arm reach in the back and the two hand, right and left hand touch each other? Flexibility. How wide of a split can you do with your legs? Flexibility. Balance. How long can you stand on one foot without falling over? Speed. Okay, how fast can we run, swim, jump? Very simple. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 images that you can start to build when it comes to your physical health. Answer the question, and then you will have a clear mental health, a picture of physical health. And before you know it, you have the reality of that physical health. Okay, social health, acquaintance, make a list of all the people that you consider acquaintance. Make a list of people that you consider trusting. Do you have mental image of the people that we can be affectionate with? Affectionate. And how many of those people can we get intimate with? All right, parent and children can be intimate. We can share things that we not share about other people. Okay, so build a mental image of your social health. If you have a lot of acquaintance, but not a lot of people that we can be affectionate with or intimate with, well, then guess what? We can go to work on improving our mental images of the intimacy and the affectionate aspect of our social relationship. Answer the question to these prompts, and then before you know it, you'll be a person of holistic health. You will be rich in health, rich in mental health, rich in social health, rich in physical health. Okay.
The physical health I need to work on.
Me too.
Flexibility.
Me too. Stamina? How many hours can you talk on a Zoom?
Yeah. Oh, you're doing very well.
Okay. Yeah, that's it for today. Okay. I'm very grateful. Okay, that you guys have spent 8 hours. Okay, seven, something like that, with me.
Not long.
As I share this and as you interact, your question, your sharing, it helps me understand the material. And as I understand the material, I can feel that my life is already getting better. And I owe a debt of gratitude for your time. Okay, I'm sure there are more important things that you could do with your time, but you are honoring me with your presence, and that is such a wonderful gift. I'm very grateful for that. Okay, and
I'm very grateful you're taking the time out to do this for us. So we can, I appreciate learning from you, Frank, and I'm enjoying it.
okay, yeah.
Thank you very much, Frank.
Okay, thank
Thank
you,
you
Vince.
so much.
Okay, but I won't let you go yet until we do that final ritual. The ritual of lesson, impression, and realization. So just give me one or two things that you find to be new or impressed you the most in this last interaction or in anything that we've learned so far. Each person give me one or two things.
Well, for me,
Mm-hmm.
all this I've heard before, but for me, my big thing is the root cause of life.
Okay.
Everything begins with me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And yeah, that one means a lot to me because that's the one I worked on with at the offline, and that's the one I chose there because I really appreciate that part of the root cause of life really affects me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think that was the first one that got me too. That was the first one. I mean, it is the first one that get presented in the series, the way the material is presented, because most people nowadays we tend to be very scientific. Okay, we live in a world that is very materialistic. The science dominate many areas of life. So yeah, that one was one of my first one as well. Yeah.
I think that's why I found it a lot. I mean, I was put on the spot too to share there, but
Okay.
I found it kind of easy to focus on it.
Yeah.
Reason I was able to just blurt things out without even thinking, really.
There you go. You already have the seed of knowledge and wisdom with respect to that, that formula for it's called the formula for the root cause of life. Okay, so
Yeah.
so let me see if I can find it, squeeze it in here. Let's use the formula for the root cause of life. Okay, it is a formula for the root cause of life. Thank you, Ron.
Yes. Well, there was
Anything else?
one more part I just wanted to add to that one too. Like
Yeah.
for root cause of life, what I did with my share was started with basically this start of Buddhism. What they believe in is the past, present, and the future.
Okay.
Your past cause, where your cause came from, and then you got your present, which is the effect,
Mm-hmm.
cause, and then your future.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you change that? You go to your outcome.
Oh, so you are tying the scientific approach to the religious and spiritual approach. It's
Yes.
good. Okay, that's synthesis of knowledge. Okay, we'll go to the religious perspective tomorrow. Okay, we'll talk about religious and religion and spirituality. We'll talk about the causality of this life and past lives. Okay, and how you can change the outcome in life. Yeah. Great.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you for that. All right.
Yeah.
Anything else? Ki Hua, give me one or two things, would you please?
Thank you, Frank. I almost feels like the same thing with Ron. Although mental images is I really like, because it's when I monitor my what is he? No. Monitor my hear and say. No. I monitor my hear and no, not yet. I get it. Thay đổi nói viết. Change my nói viết. My thay đổi nói. Oh, my mind went blank. Kiểm soát nghe thấy thay đổi nói
You're
viết.
stuck on the Vietnamese version. Don't get stuck on a Vietnamese version. If we're speaking English, just
I know.
the English version.
I'm translating.
I know
Okay.
what you're saying. Change what we see and know, and change.
Change what we say and know. Monitor what we hear and see. So monitor what we hear and what we hear and what we see. That I really like. Yeah. Because it's so key to. There's so many things out there we can get influenced by, and so if now we have this key, then we know we have a choice to cultivate or to hear and see the positive things. And that's how we cultivate, and that's because positive things gives us the that energy that is positive and lively, instead of feeling down. Even if I hear someone sharing their reality in a positive way, then I also get affected by it, which is a good effect. Thank you.
Yeah, great. Yeah, that's wonderful. Okay, that's wonderful. Okay, and how about Vince? Last one. Anything would you like to, push you? But I feel it's important. It is a principle that we can share. Just a few things that we've learned.
Yeah, before I used to think, fate, destiny is decide our life. Yeah, our life, is destined. Of course, we do the best, but finally, our fate will decide. But after today, I think if we change our belief, we can change our life.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. Okay. So yeah, you've experienced a transformation.
Yeah.
I'm very grateful for that.
Yeah. I hope, I hope, I can change my beliefs, so I can change my life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And our beliefs are made of nothing more than our mental images. Okay. And Ji Hua already just said, if we just monitor what we see, we hear, change what we say or know, then we essentially change our mental images, and then therefore we change our belief and change our outcome and change our life. Okay, great. Thank you so much, Vince, for spending so much time. Okay.
Truly grateful for your lecture today.
No,
Really,
I'm
really
more grateful
appreciate
for
that.
you.
Yeah.
Okay. In fact, when we go to the religious and spiritual perspective, you will find that you are doing me a bigger favor than I'm doing you a favor. Okay, we'll get to that tomorrow. Morgan, you just unmuted. Would you care to say something?
Yeah, hi to everybody, and thank you so much, Frank. Unfortunately, I just started to listening to you the last 2 hours to the end, but the part that I already know, but you explaining very well, is in believing. All of a sudden, I start to change my belief, and then it's changing my life, and I can see it. And then I didn't realize that what is a negative, what is a positive, it's supposed to be. But when I changing my believing, automatically everything is changing to be positive, and nothing's bad. And then you're right. We just speak up. We just change the channel. We just not listening to the bad news. We just pass of anything is a negative around us, and start to think about the good things happen even in the middle of the bad thing. And then that one is going to change everybody's life. And many people, the behavior you're doing in the society, the way that you changing your belief is going to affect to your friends in society, to the people you're going to watching you. They're going to affect on that, the one too. And then little by little, you can be a stronger and more believing yourself, the way that you changing your belief. Because at the beginning, I have a struggle with this one. Is it changing my belief is right or wrong? But I'm keep studying and then trying, to believing the right thing. That one is important. And thank you to you, Frank. You are spending time.
Okay, all right. I'm very grateful that you're taking your time. I know it's getting late. The question is, how long do you guys want to sleep? What time do you want to restart?
Whenever you want to start, Frank.
Can we start at 4 a.m.? That's 5 hours from now. 5 hours of sleep is good enough, okay?
That's a lot of sleep.
I love that. He changed, okay? He's speaking, okay? He's creating his reality. That's a lot of sleep. That's more sleep than we need, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Are you
4
going to continue
4 a.m.
tomorrow?
This is a 24-hour sharing, Morgan. We started at
Oh,
2
that's-
p.m. We're gonna go to tomorrow evening.
That's good.
Yeah. Yeah. So can you join us at 4 a.m. tomorrow?
4 a.m. tomorrow. I'll try my best.
Okay. Okay.
I
At the
try my best to
at the beginning of our sharing, I said that when you have reached a degree of inner peace, then your spirit and your mind and your body will connect, and you can access almost unlimited amount of energy. And that is what allowed me to be able to speak almost nonstop since 2 o'clock until now. Okay. Last time I was able to do it with only 1 hour of sleep. But considering this time we have some new participant, I want to give a participant a chance to sleep a little longer. So we're gonna do 5 hours sleep. Okay. So Vincent, can you guys set your alarm and be here by 4 a.m.? Yeah. Or are you trying to negotiate? Do you want to renegotiate?
Yeah, I would love to, but I got problem with it with sleep. I can't sleep. That's my problem.
Do I need to go back? Do I need to go back to the interaction of root cause of life begin with me? Do we need to go back to if I am already somebody, then I cannot be anybody else. If I'm already a person who had difficulty sleeping, then I cannot be a person of anybody else. But if I am nobody, then I can be anybody. I can be a person who only need 5 hours of sleep. Root cause of life begin with me right now. Vincent, you tell me.
I try.
Okay, no promise, right? Okay, no
I try.
problem. We'll do our best to start at 4 a.m. Okay, I'll set my alarm to.
I'll be there, Frank.
Okay, I set my alarm to 3:30 or something like that. Okay. Okay. Alrighty.
Okay, have a good sleep.
See you guys. Good night.
Thank
Good
you.
night,
Good
everyone.
sleep, Frank. Good night, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.